Hey everyone, it's Mrs. Womack again. Well, now that we have identified all the major parts of a sentence with an action verb and the major parts of a sentence with a linking verb, it is time for us to move on to adjectives and adverbs as modifiers. So let's begin with adjectives. What is an adjective? An adjective is any word that modifies or describes a noun or a pronoun. Adjectives will always answer one of the following questions. Which one, what kind, how much, or how many, depending on the noun being modified. In order to diagram modifiers, we must first identify the parts of the sentence. In the example sentence, I have a fat, lazy dog, we begin by identifying the verb, have, which is an action verb. Next, we look for the subject by asking the question, who or what have? The answer is I. I is a pronoun, so we will box it in orange and label it S for the subject. Because we have an action verb, we must also look for direct objects and indirect objects. To find the direct object, we ask the question, have, whom, or what? The answer here is dog. Dog is a noun, so we will box it in red and we will label it DO to show that it is the direct object. Next, we look for the indirect object by asking the question, have, understood to or for, whom or what? Well, I don't really have a word that answers that question in this sentence, and I'm out of nouns and pronouns, so I will put an X to show that there is no indirect object in the sentence. Well, my formula is complete now, meaning that all the words in the sentence are going to act as a modifier of some kind. So let's look for those modifiers. The word a here modifies the word dog by answering the question, how many? A dog indicates only one dog. Because adjectives are yellow, we will box the word a in yellow, and we will draw an arrow from the word a to the word dog, showing that a is modifying the word dog. Next, we move on to the word fat. Fat is modifying dog by telling me what kind of dog I have, a fat one. So we will box in fat with a yellow box, and we will draw an arrow from the word fat to the word dog. Last but not least, we have the word lazy. Lazy is also modifying the word dog by answering the question, what kind? So we will box it in yellow to indicate it is an adjective and draw an arrow from lazy to dog. Now let's move on to diagramming this sentence. As always, we will begin with our horizontal line that represents our basic sentence structure. We will add our subject-predicate division line, and because I have a direct object, I must also divide the predicate between the verb and the direct object. And then we will just simply fill in the blank. I have dog. Now, while this is a complete sentence, it's not a very exciting one, which is why we add the modifiers. Now, to add modifiers to a diagram, we simply dangle the modifying words from the word being modified. In this case, dog is the word being modified, and it has 3 modifiers. So we will dangle slanting lines from the word dog, and going from left to right in the order they appear in the sentence, we will simply fill in the blanks with the modifiers, so that when I read the sentence from the diagram, it says, I have a fat, lazy dog. Now, to move on to adverbs, we must first learn what an adverb is. An adverb is any word that modifies or describes a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. In other words, adverbs modify verbs and other modifiers. An adverb will answer one of the following questions: how, where, when, why, and to what extent. Let's look at a sentence, shall we? I ran outside quickly. The verb to this sentence is the word ran, and it is an action verb. To find the subject, we ask the question, who or what ran? The answer is I, which is a pronoun, and we will label it as the subject. Because I have an action verb, I must look for a direct object and an indirect object. The question to ask for a direct object is ran, whom, or what? Well, I do not have a noun or a pronoun that can answer that question. Therefore, I do not have a direct object. So I will put an X in the blank, and then I am done. Now that my formula is done, that indicates that everything else in the sentence must be a modifier. So let's look for these modifiers. The word outside is modifying the word ran by answering the question where, as in I ran where? Outside. Therefore, outside is an adverb, and adverbs are blue. So we will put a box around outside, and then we will draw an arrow from outside to ran, showing that outside is modifying ran. Quickly modifies ran also, but it is answering the question how, as in how did I run? Quickly. Because quickly is an adverb, I will box it in blue, and then I will draw an arrow from quickly to ran, showing that it is modifying the word ran. Now let's look to the diagram. Again, we will begin with our horizontal line representing our basic sentence, and we only have a subject and predicate here, so we will only put the subject-predicate division line to separate our subject and our verb. I ran, again, while it is a complete sentence, is not a very exciting one. Just like we had to do with adjectives, we will also dangle our adverbs from the words they are modifying. Because ran is the modified word, we will dangle two slanting lines from ran, and from left to right, put the modifiers in the order they appear in the sentence, so that when I'm looking at the diagram, I can read, I ran outside quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all there is to modifying, diagramming, modifying words. Until next time, when we will look at modifying phrases, we will practice this a little bit more, get some extra class practice in, and then I will see you on the next go. Alrighty then, have a good one. Bye-bye.